Good morning and welcome to this week's episode of Coffee and Cabinets. I'm your host, kitchen and bath designer, Jordan Thomes. This morning I'm drinking just a plain French vanilla iced coffee. This week is going to be another DIY craft week. This week we are making something a little bit different than we did last time when we made those cabinet door TV trays. We are going to be doing a simple wreath. Now, our particular wreath, we are going to be using some small, different colored cabinet samples, but the way we have things set up here, you can very easily make your wreath out of anything you might have around the house. Whether you have some scrap pieces of wood that you can paint or stain, whether you have some photos that are all similar sizes, old coasters laying around, this setup will really fall well into anything you might have. Before we dive into our craft, I'm just going to run through a really quick list of materials. First, you're going to need whatever you want to make your wreath out of. As I mentioned, we are doing ours out of some small cabinet samples. We have a mix of stained and painted. Next, just a pen or a pencil. This is to make some marks and to make your template. I personally have super glue for this one. It would absolutely work with hot glue gun, E6000, whatever it is that you might have laying around. I did grab a blank piece of paper so I can make a template. And then I did also grab, just from the dollar store, this is one of the floral foam wreath circles. So this is what I'm going to use to hold all of my door samples once I have them put together. And this is also what I use to make my template. I just trace the inside so I can lay all my pieces out and make sure everything will be the right size. So I have gone ahead and traced my template here on this blank piece of paper. So now I have the outline of where I'm going to have to lay my pieces. So I'm just going to start, before I grab my glue, I'm going to lay everything out, make sure I have everything in order, and make sure everything is aligned the way it's supposed to be. Okay, so I have all of my pieces laid out around the template that I have for my wreath circle. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through, and prior to attaching all of my pieces to the wreath sample, I'm actually going to glue them to each other. It'll just make it a little bit easier, so rather than having to adjust when they're already glued onto here and making it a little bit tougher to move them, I'm going to have the freedom of moving them around here while I glue them to each other. So now that I have all my pieces glued to each other, we're going to wait about 5 to 10 minutes to make sure everything is solid and it's all glued together so nothing falls apart when we transfer it to the wreath. So we'll see you in about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so it has been just about 10 minutes and our glue has dried on our samples. So now what we're going to do is evenly distribute some dots of glue all around our floral foam hoop here. And then we're going to move our wreath of door samples and we're going to drop them right on and then wait another about 5 to 10 minutes until that glue dries, and then we'll have a finished product. So now the time has come. All of our glue has dried and we have a cabinet sample DIY wreath. At this stage, if you wanted to, you could add some more embellishments. So whether it be some greenery you wanted to pop in the center, something like this. If you had any extra maybe poinsettia leaves hanging around, if you had any garland, ornaments, anything to make it really festive for the holidays, you could pop that into the styrofoam wreath ring. Or what we might do is go ahead and add one of these pieces right to the middle with a little more glue or tape, just to see how that would come out. So now that our glue has dried, we've added our greenery. Join me as I hang this right on my office door. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of Coffee and Cabinets. Hope to see you next Saturday, Christmas morning, for our special snow day edition where I'll be going live in my own kitchen. Thank you so much. Oh God, it's so gross. This week we are going to be doing another DIY episode.